Let's ask the question if the Nerf Rayven still holds up today. Nerf Rayven has to be up there in the top rankings of like coolest looking Nerf blaster ever. Just the way that this bullpup design has endured and lasted for so long in the collective memory of Nerf collectors, Nerfers, Nerf competitive players. This is an absolutely iconic blaster. If you've seen a Rayven before, you'll notice that it doesn't have the Firefly mag. I think the Firefly mag deserves its own video, so we're just going to talk about the Rayven today. If I were to sum up the Nerf Rayven in one word, it's basically a backwards Nerf Strife. Another thing that you'll see mentioned a lot about the Rayven is that it is a great donor shell. And what that means is people who do integrations, which is getting fewer and far between because of the rise of 3D printing, will take the base unit of this Rayven, take out all the parts, and graft it onto another blaster. If you ever hear the words Straven, that basically means they took a Rayven and a Strife and smashed them together. Before we go on too much of a tangent, let's talk about some of the features of this blaster and what it's well known for. It is a bullpup style blaster, which means that the magazine is behind the trigger, and it has all the hallmarks of what you would notice from a Nerf blaster from around the 2010s. It has the attachment rail on the top here, it has the attachment rail on the side. On the opposite side, it doesn't have that because we have the casing here for the motors, rev switch, trigger, and the end strike barrel lug attachment point. I'm just going to put this out there right now. If you put a barrel on the Nerf Rayven, like, that's a terrible move. You already have so much dead space in the blaster already. Don't decrease the performance of this thing if you're leaving it stock. I'm just going to launch 2 darts out of this thing for now, and we can talk about the performance of it after that. It takes so long for this thing to rev up. Alright, those were the 2 darts. As you can see, performance of this thing isn't great. It is an older blaster. After all, it's over a decade old. But ultimately, if we're looking at this blaster through the lens of today, when we have things like pro performance blasters, you're going to be disappointed. But if we look at this from the lens of when this was created, it showed the potential of using Nerf as a competitive sport. One feature that I like on this blaster that I haven't really seen recreated in newer blasters is the mag release on the back here. It's a little tricky to see, but this is an oversized paddle here that makes it extremely easy to drop the mag. Another bullpup style blaster like the Moto Blitz here has a similar release, but it's not quite the same. The only small issue that I have with this is that it sticks out of the blaster and it creates a potential point of failure. Whereas here on the Rayven, it is inset into the stock of the blaster, so it has less of a chance of being a broken piece. When we're talking about loading and unloading magazines, that is an important piece to have intact. Throughout the years, we've seen the Nerf Rayven take a few different variant forms. However, this is the base form. This is what I would say is probably the most classic form, and it is this neon yellowy green that is unique across Nerf. Closest we got to this color again, I believe, was the Nerf Rival exclusive set at Walmart. So this blaster would certainly stick out on store shelves as well as in anybody's personal collection. I did touch a little bit about it earlier in the video, but that is the magazine. There was a Firefly magazine. Now the benefit with the Firefly mag, of course, was that it would help some darts glow in the dark and make the Rayven even cooler. That's not needed for this blaster to work. In fact, it's fairly versatile. You can use these 18-round stick mags, and I just kind of want to try it for the fun of it, but let's get out the Titan 50-round drum. Here's the Titan 50-round drum. Here is our Rayven. Let's see. Does that line up? Not quite. It is oh so very close. If you look at this piece right here, if I were to shave that off, I could probably get the Titan drum in this thing. Here's one of the Dino Squad banana mags. It does fit in here as well, just to make sure. Oh yeah, that could definitely fire some darts. A blaster like the Rayven here has left a mark on the history of Nerf. It's an extremely popular shell type, even though it wasn't necessarily optimized for performance. But it allowed people who got this blaster a chance to get a glimpse at the future of Nerf. It also has been used in many one-of-a-kind integrations from within the Nerf community. For a time, this was an extremely highly sought-after blaster, but since the rise of 3D printers, it necessarily hasn't seen the height and level of popularity that it once did. It still doesn't detract from the fact that this blaster is absolutely iconic, and something, if you collect Nerf or you collect toys, should consider adding to your collection. There's my look at the Nerf Rayven 10 years after it released. If you like toys, if you like Nerf blasters, if you like collecting things, please consider following the channel. That way you can get updates whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. We'll see you next time.